Hey, welcome back. All right, here's actually one of my old power bills. And if you guys see where it says KWH used and it says 312, let's talk a little bit about what KWH stands for. The KW, anybody ideas? Anybody? Anybody? Yeah, the KW, the W stands for watts, and the K stands for kilowatts. So if you remember, kilo is 1,000, so that's 1,000 watts. And the H, anybody? Yes, the H stands for hours. So they are charging me for kilowatt hours. So let's go back to our equation here and take a look at some things here. Well, the units for power is a watt, or if I want, I could say a kilowatt for 1,000 watts. Well, a possible unit for time could be hours. So if I multiply here, I end up with kilowatt hours equals the energy converted, which means the power company, when they are charging me for kilowatt hours up there, the 312, what they are actually charging me for is not power. They're actually charging me for the amount of energy that I used. So they really should be called the energy company, not the power company, because they're charging me for the amount of energy that I use. Anybody out there have parents that get really upset with them when you leave lights on, stuff like that? I'm guessing somebody's parents get really upset with you. But I'm going to go through an example with you. Let's say that let's say you left 5 100-watt light bulbs on for, let's say you left it on overnight, so you left them on for 7 hours. Okay. And the rate that they charge you. Now, if you look on a power bill, okay, everybody see that first line where it says 312 kilowatt hours times, and then it says $0.105. That $0.015, that's the rate. Now, this was back in 1996, and actually power is actually more expensive in 1996. I believe it's less than that. I believe it's about 7.5 or 8 cents per kilowatt hour now. But we'll go with the rate here. So we'll go high. So we'll say you're going to leave 5 100-watt light bulbs on for 7 hours, and the rate is 10.5 cents per kilowatt hour. Okay? So we're going to figure out how much it costs. So, what does it cost? Okay, to do this, okay, I want cents or dollars. So that means I have to find the number of kilowatt hours. So your first step when you're doing this, okay, your first step is to find the power in kilowatts. I want to find the power in kilowatts. So I have 5 100-watt light bulbs. So that's 500 watts. What? That's 500 watts, which is going to be, if I divide by 1,000, I'm going to get 0.5 kilowatts. Okay, so that's my first step. But I need to find kilowatt hours, not just kilowatts. So your next step when you're doing this is then to multiply your power by the number of hours. Because if I do that, I'm going to end up with kilowatt hours. So if I do this, I'm going to get 0.5 kilowatts times 7 hours, and I would get 3.5 kilowatt hours. Okay? So 3.5 kilowatt hours, and then my last step is I just have to multiply it by my rate. So multiply by the rate. So I'm going to say, okay, 3.5 kilowatt hours, and I'm going to multiply that by 10.5 cents per kilowatt hour. Do you guys see how my kilowatt hours go away? And if I do the math, let me grab a calculator real fast. So I do the math here, I get 3. Let me get a calculator that actually works. Okay, hang on. Alright, got a calculator that works. 3.5 times 10.5, and I get 36.75, so it's 36.75. But here's where you guys have to be careful of the units. Okay, actually, sorry, it's going off the board here a little bit. I'll do it down here. So the answer is 36.75, but you have to be careful of the units because in this case, I was multiplying by cents, so it's 36.75 cents. Okay, if this was 0.105, that would be dollars, then I would get $0.3675. Okay, you guys have to include the correct units. So if you were to leave 5 light bulbs on for 7 hours, and this was the rate, it would cost you 36.75 cents. So if your parents get really, really, really mad at you, sit down with them, do the math, give them 2 quarters, and say, hey, you know what? I'm okay for a little while. So, but this should help, guys, with your homework. Your homework is page 8 in your packet. The last problem on page 8, which is number 7. Why don't you guys, when you guys actually do it, why don't you guys do for 30 days? Okay, so you have to figure out for 30 days. All right, bye, guys.